Hello and welcome to the February 2nd, 2023 Parks and Human Services Committee. I am Councilmember Michaud and I am joined today by Councilmember Kaur and Councilmember Troutner. All right, up first, are there any changes to the agenda from staff or council members, committee members?
No. Thank you, Madam Chair. No changes to the agenda.
All right. Up next, we have approval of the minutes from January.
Chair, I move to approve minutes for January 5, 2023.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the minutes are passed. Okay, up first, we have Merina Hanson, who's going to introduce our new SKIP executive manager.
Good evening, thank you. Claire Goodwin is now the executive manager for SKIP, and she's been with us for a whole 3 weeks now, so she's brand new. So I wanted to make sure that I took the opportunity to introduce you all to her because you see her fairly regularly through the course of the year. I'm going to read a little bit so I make sure I get this right. Claire has been supporting elected officials and government leadership in both local and state roles since 2014. Prior to accepting our role with SKIP, she spent 3 years developing policy on behalf of 4 members of the Tacoma City Council, which included changes to their multifamily property tax exemption program. She also spent a few state legislative sessions as a fiscal analyst on the Senate Ways and Means Committee, and that included budget work on behalf of Commerce and many other state agencies. So she has a lot of really great broad experience, and she also has experience at the local city level. She holds her master's in science and public policy and management, and I'm going to turn it over to her now, but I just wanted to share a little bit about her experience. We're very excited to have her. Her experience is really central to many of the things that we hold very dearly with the SKIP role, so we're excited to have her, and I will turn it over to her.
Thanks so much, Marina. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you, Chair Michaud and council members. So good afternoon. I'm so excited to be here. My first time presenting to the City of Kent. Claire Goodwin, for the record, the new executive manager for SKIP. And I'm excited to be here today to present to you SKIP's executive board's recommendations on the Housing Capital Fund. So go ahead. All right. So SKIP was formed in 2019 through an interlocal agreement between several city governments and King County to address the housing needs of South King County as a unified, coordinated coalition, and Kent was a founding member. SKIP currently has 11 member jurisdictions, which are listed on the slide. Kent is represented by Mayor Ralph, who serves as co-chair on the SKIP Executive Board. And by way of background, SKIP's Housing Capital Fund in 2019, substitute House Bill 1406 became law, allowing cities and counties to recapture a portion of Washington state sales tax when it's used to support affordable housing initiatives. So you may recall that the effective sales tax rate didn't change for the consumer, and instead the tax gets credited against the state sales tax. And in 2021, your City Council authorized an interlocal agreement with SKIP, which allowed the pooling of sales tax receipts received under Substitute House Bill 1406 from each participating member jurisdiction for use by SKIP in funding affordable housing projects. So this is the first of an annual process with SKIP and member jurisdictions to use these pooled resources through the SKIP Housing Capital Fund. So use of these pooled funds requires approval from each participating city council, even though you have already committed the funds to SKIP, and council will need to take action for us to use those funds. So this approach allows multiple cities to pool their funds for projects across South King County to maximize the creation of affordable housing overall and in each city. So SKIP opened its first Housing Capital Fund application in 2022. 3 projects applied for SKIP funding, and they all happened to be projects in Burien. The SKIP Advisory Board reviewed applications and forwarded its funding recommendation to the SKIP Executive Board that reflected the policies and priorities adopted by the SKIP Executive Board. After careful deliberation, the SKIP Executive Board concurred with the recommendations of the Advisory Board and has recommended funding of $1,393,308 for 2 projects as described in the SKIP Executive Board Funding Recommendation Memo dated December 16th, 2022, which was included in your packet. All right, so the projects under consideration and the SKIP Executive Board's recommendation on funding levels for each project are listed on the slide, and I'll briefly go through each one. So first we have a Habitat for Humanity project. It's a home ownership project in Burien. So phase 1 of this project includes the construction of 20 3-bedroom townhomes for households earning up to 50% of the area median income, or AMI. The requested funding is $300,000. This is the total amount across all the jurisdictions, and the same amount was recommended by the board. The special conditions include this being a secured grant with no repayment as long as affordability and target population are maintained, and the covenant is recorded to ensure affordability for at least 50 years. Second is a project from Mercy Housing Northwest. This is an 89-unit multifamily mixed-income affordable rental housing development. So the project proposal is to provide a mix of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom apartments for households with mixed incomes from 0 to 30%, 30 to 50%, and up to 60% of AMI, and anticipated set-asides at 20% for households with a disability and 40% set-asides for households experiencing homelessness. The requested funding in total for this project is $1,093,308, and the same amount was recommended by the board. The special conditions for this project include being a deferred contingent forgivable loan, and the covenant is recorded to ensure affordability for at least 50 years. EcoThrive also submitted an application for a home ownership project, which includes new construction of 26 houses for households earning 30 to 50% AMI. The requested funding was between $700,000 and $1 million, and the board did not recommend funding at this time. Both the advisory board and the executive board are enthusiastic about this project, and the element of readiness to use the funds and complement other fund sources inform this recommendation, and the project sponsors have been encouraged to apply during the next round of funding. So this slide shows total amounts contributed by jurisdiction to the SKIP Housing Capital Fund, and of this total, the amounts by jurisdiction for each project. You will also see the unallocated amount by jurisdiction to be used in future funding years. That's the far right column. So we are seeking authorization from City Council to allocate the 2 amounts listed for both of these projects under your city in alignment with the Executive Board's recommendations. And you can see on the slide that $68,431.17 for the Habitat for Humanity project and $249,387.81 for the Mercy Housing project. And in conclusion, we're looking for your support today to authorize the allocation of $317,818.98 from the city's contribution to the SKIP Housing Capital Fund to finance the 2 affordable housing projects we talked about today. And then we will also be seeking support from the full council per our interlocal agreement requirements. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Claire. I think it's great to see these dollars get put towards some actual projects. It's great. Are there any questions from committee members, comments? Go ahead.
Thank you, Council Chair, or Committee Chair. When do we expect to see some of these projects happen, and then will you be coming back to let us know what's happening with the projects and how many residents they have, maybe some details about how well it's working?
Yeah, so the being so new, I'm still getting up to speed on the status of all the projects, but certainly we'll report back on the successes of these, and we'll be compiling annual reports that would be distributed to the all the member jurisdictions. And in terms of the at what stage we're at right now with each of the projects, I may need to get back to you on. I don't know if Marina, you have information on that, but if not, can certainly get back to you.
There's not a ton I can add, but like one of the requirements for the applicants for this program was that these are projects that have funding in place and will be ready to go soon. So there are definitely projects that are on the path to begin. So we'll definitely keep you posted. Happy to.
Any other questions? Just a comment. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a comment. Three of the three projects are in Buren, and makes you wonder what is actually working in Buren and not rest of the South King County. What are they doing differently? I don't know if you have the answer to that, or you can get back to us.
No, that's a great
later.
question. So, and other jurisdictions ask this question, and my understanding is it's just a matter of the timing. So before the application went out, there were likely projects in other member jurisdictions that could have applied, but it's just the short window of when the applications go out and the project readiness. And yeah, interestingly enough, three happen to be in Burien. So it's one of those things too that we do want to keep advertising to developers that there is this funding available. So that will be something we'll be working on this year, is to just ensure that the word gets out that we're here and happy to consider projects. Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, we're ready for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to adopt a resolution to authorize the allocation of $317,818.98 from the city's contribution to the SKIP Housing Capital Fund to finance affordable housing projects in South King County communities per the December 2022 SKIP Housing Capital Fund recommendations.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, up next, we have Will Moore here from Facilities to talk about the City of Kent Building Automation System Migration Project.
Good evening, council members. Thank you, Will Moore, Facilities Superintendent. So I'm here tonight to present the Siemens upgrade, is what we're calling it. And what Siemens does is it controls all of our HVAC systems throughout the city. On the right here are a couple of screenshots of what it currently looks like. It is an antiquated system. It's about 20 years old and is actually no longer supported by Siemens. In addition to that, the server that the software lives on is 2012 R2 version, and it's a major security risk from our IT department standpoint, and it will no longer be supported from those security measures starting of October of this year. In addition to that, there's hundreds of pieces of Siemens hardware deployed throughout all the buildings that control the units and the set points, the dampers, so on and so forth. So that's our existing system and what we're looking to upgrade. What we're upgrading to is the new version of the Siemens system called the Zigo CC. We are upgrading it to be on a virtual server, so the operating system, like the 2012, doesn't come into play, and security measures are always updated from the IT standpoint. As you can see there on the left, those are screenshots of what the new system looks like. Obviously, much more updated, better user interface, and it just does have better building automation controls for our energy efficiency. We can use outside air, have better sensors, control the temperatures in a way that we can't do currently as well. And then this remote access and mobile capabilities is going to be a big change for how we operate. We do access the existing system through our laptops or computers here at work, but now being able to have these alarms on our phones, change set points, check the status of a particular unit is also going to help, honestly, just save costs and make our team more efficient. And more about that and how we use it currently, the HVAC team comes in the morning and they check the Siemens system right away. It'll tell us if a unit's down, it can tell us if there's any alarms, and that's all at one central dashboard, so they don't have to go to each and every building to actually see what's wrong, or they can catch it before any staff get into the building. As you can see here, I put at least 80% of our heated and air-conditioned space throughout the city is on this system. Anything that's not is just a one-off outbuilding somewhere that just hasn't been added. But as you can see, the buildings that it serves is the main infrastructure of the city. And it helps us, again, identify equipment offline, seasonal switchovers. On the weekends, I mean, I've been able to log into this when I come in to see what's wrong and dispatch, and same with Ken and Randy on the HVAC team. So it's really like the heart and soul of what they do every day to make sure the buildings are comfortable. So that's the background. I'm here today to ask approval for the agreement with Siemens Industries Incorporated for the amount of $207,334.10.
All right, thank you, Will. Any questions or comments for Will? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I know sometimes when we sit up here, especially during the winter, it can be very chilly, and then during the summer it can be very warm. Will we notice a difference with this new system?
So City Hall is challenging in that sense where the seasonal switchover has to happen here, where we can't be on heating mode and cooling mode at the same time. We have to pick one or the other. But we will be able to make set point adjustments. Like I could stand here and make a set point adjustment if we were in that particular mode. But to switch over the modes requires turning on the chillers, the cooling tower in the summer, and then we go into winter, we have to shut those down and turn on the boilers to get the building heated up. So this particular building has challenges with that.
Thank you.
Yes.
I was going to ask the same question, Will. But so if it's already winter and you already have the boilers on and it's cold, then potentially you could maybe turn the heat up.
Correct.
From your phone.
Correct. And some of this, again, the energy efficiency comes into play where we can have lower utility bills and manage that. And that's a goal of this system as well, to actually manage and monitor our efficiency as well as we move forward. Kind of ties into the climate planning as well, honestly. And there's a lot of really good features that are built into the new software.
Okay, Councilmember Kaur?
That was my question.
Okay. All right, if we don't have any more questions or comments, can I get a motion?
Chair, I move to authorize the mayor to sign the goods and services agreement with Siemens Industry, Inc. in the amount of $207,334.10 to upgrade our Siemens HVAC automation software from the existing version Insight to the newest version, Desigo CC, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to the Parks Director and City Attorney.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks so much, Will.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we have Bryan Higgins here to talk about the Ruth Property acquisition and some good news.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we deal in parks or in planning mostly in outdoor environments, so can't control the heat at the park. But anyway, the Ruth Property, I thought I'd give you guys kind of a little refresher on the Ruth Property, or maybe if you haven't seen it from this perspective. This is a drone shot kind of taken over the East Hill shops there looking back at the Ruth Property. So kind of the outline in yellow is the parcel that we purchased, or the 3 parcels that we purchased that are combined 17 acres there. And so just to kind of give you an idea how it fits into the rest of the park. And then the fishing pier is kind of like the dock on the far side that you can see there with the yellow arrow. And then the exciting thing about this particular piece of property is it's going to allow the Parks Department to complete this trail connection across the property. And so outlined in red are all the kind of existing trails that exist at the park. So you can see how this parcel was really creating this, like blocking of keeping people from enjoying the full park. So I really think this is going to be exciting for our department. And so now onto the grant sources that we've got so far for this project. So tonight we're talking about the Conservation Futures Tax, the $2 million award that we got. And the other awards that we have received but aren't quite there yet are the Land and Water Conservation Fund for $2 million and the RCO Local Parks for $1 million. So All total, we'll probably have around $5 million in grant funding for this particular project. But the first one today is the Conservation Futures tax money. I'll take any questions if you guys have any.
Brian, how much was the property purchased for?
Yeah, 7.2 million.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for Brian? Okay. All right. Well, great news. We're ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move to accept the grant funds in the amount of $2 million from the King County Conservation Futures Fund for the Ruth Property acquisition, authorize the mayor to establish a budget for expenditure of the funds, and sign the amendment with King County subject to terms and conditions acceptable to the Parks Director and City Attorney.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. And that is all we have today. So we are adjourned.